The following is a paid commercial program paid for by the Consumer Team and does not reflect the opinions or advice of KRLD or CBS Radio. I'm Pete Thomson. This hour on the Consumer Team, how to resolve an IRS tax problem, saving money on Medicare, why you shouldn't hire a contractor at a big box store, the best credit card rewards, and when a sale is not a sale, also known as fake sales. We'll cover it all this hour on the Voice of the Consumer for Dallas-Fort Worth, the Consumer Team.
The Consumer Team with Pete Thomson.
The Consumer Team has saved me thousands of dollars.
Helping you be a more successful consumer.
The Consumer Team has taught me what questions to ask before I buy.
Every week, news, information, and wise counsel that will help you save time, money, and grief.
We always get a second opinion because of Consumer Team.
The Consumer Team, introducing you to companies with superior products and services.
I can always trust the companies I hear on Consumer Team.
The Consumer Team, making you a smarter, more savvy consumer. Now, the voice of the consumer. The Consumer Team with Pete Thomson.
Hello and welcome to the program that is on a mission to find and share with you the truth. Welcome to the Consumer Team, and here is what the truth looks like every week on this program. First of all, we bring you the latest consumer news, the good deals, the bad deals, recalls and ripoffs, anything that impacts your life as a consumer. Secondly, we connect you with the best businesses in Dallas-Fort Worth, businesses that have, first of all, a great high-quality product or service, fair pricing, outstanding customer service, and transparency in the way they do business. That is the mission of the Consumer Team. My name is Pete Thomson. For years, I worked in broadcasting here in DFW. I mean, I just did about everything. I was an announcer for several years. I got into sales. I was a general manager of several stations. About 5 years ago, I started my own company, MCQ Media, so I could work with my clients and on consumer advocacy on a more full-time basis. Just so you know, the Consumer Team is based in Dallas-Fort Worth, and we're focused only on Dallas-Fort Worth, on North Texas. You know, the consultants come marching in, seems like every week, and they tell me I could make a lot of money. They say, hey, you could make a lot of dough going into multiple markets. Bigger is better. World domination. And I say, you know what? That's what everybody else is doing. That's Angie's List. That's Yelp. That's Trust Dale guy that's now in Dallas. I mean, you're trying to do multiple markets, and you know what? You lose focus. You lose quality. No, there's enough for us to talk about here in Dallas-Fort Worth, so that's what we're going to be doing. I may not have all the dough. I may not get rich. I may not be the world dominator, but you know what? I'll be pretty good in Dallas-Fort Worth, and I think that's enough. Lots to talk about this hour on the Consumer Team. Segment 1, we will be joined by DFW tax attorney Nick Nemeth. And if you have an IRS tax problem, Nick Nemeth is a man that you want on your side. And also, if you have an IRS tax problem, and we will talk about this, there are people out there, big national companies, that are preying on you. Yes, they're promising the moon. They're delivering nothing other than taking your money from you. So we'll talk about that with Nick in just a couple of minutes. Segment 2 is very important. It is on Medicare. We will be joined by Medicare specialist Mark Robinson of Texas Retirement Specialists. And Mark today has an amazing story of a radio listener that he was able to assist in signing up for Social Security. He helped him sign up correctly, and in that process saved this person over $44,000 per year in prescription costs. This is an amazing story, and apparently, if we don't sign up for Medicare properly, these things can happen to us, so we'll talk about it this hour. Bottom of the hour, why you shouldn't hire a contractor at a big box store. This is going to be interesting. Eric Thomason from Blue Nail Roofing will be the guest. Ernie Sprance from our Consumer Team newsroom has 2 reports this hour. First half hour, the topic is fishing, and not the fun fishing in a lake, but rather the fishing that identity thieves do when they're trying to steal our stuff and get us tricked on emails. Second half hour, Ernie will report on credit card gotchas. Last up this hour, and I'm looking forward to this, I will do a report on when a sale is not a sale. Fake sales, they're everywhere. We'll tell you how to spot them and how to not fall victim to a fake sale. Get consumer news anytime on our website, myconsumerteam.com. On the website, you can link to all the resources we use to prepare our program each week. You can get signed up for our once-a-week Consumer Team Alert. Yeah, once a week, we don't bug you. We also don't sell your name. We keep it hermetically sealed on my laptop. You can also read my blog on the website. This is where I write about various consumer issues. And then there's our sponsor page, and that is a good place to meet the businesses in DFW that we've checked out and certify as the best in North Texas. So all that is on the website, and we suggest you check it out at www.myconsumerteam.com. This is the Consumer Team on 1080 KRLD. You know, consumers that are facing tax issues with the IRS have a number of challenges. First challenge is you owe money to the IRS. That's a problem. Second, in many cases, consumers that have IRS tax problems are getting ripped off by the big national firms out there that are promising the moon and delivering nothing. Well, we've got the guy from Dallas-Fort Worth that knows how to help you if you have an IRS tax issue. His name is Nick Nemeth. He joins us today on the Consumer Team. Nick, it's good to have you back on.
Thanks, Pete. I'm glad to be back.
So let's talk about this tax issue. You owe the IRS money. They're sending you notices. I hear in your commercials, this isn't just a problem. This is a major problem. Talk about that.
It is. This is a very serious problem. When you have an opponent that has the ability to levy, garnish, and seize without going to court, you probably want to have somebody on your side that knows how to handle this. It's not the type of problem you want to try and tackle on your own.
What can happen if I simply ignore you let the notices pile up on your desk at home? What happens?
Well, there's different things. It depends what the notices are for. One of the first issues is the non-filer. So when you go and you miss a year, and what most commonly happens is somebody says, hey, I can't pay this. I'm not going to file it. I'm going to just catch up in the spring or summer when I'm able to. Then they become the second year non-filer and the third year non-filer. And it just kind of cascades. The problem gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And two things can happen in that case. Either the IRS can start filing the returns for you, which is never a good thing because they don't know your deductions, your expenses, your filing status, your dependents. They just simply take what's reported as income and say, bam, there's your tax. And it's going to be a lot higher a number than it should be. The second issue with the non-filer is that's where the criminal exposure is. You can't generally go to jail for owing money, but the crime is willful failure to file. And that can be punishable by up to 1 year in prison for every year you don't file. So the last thing you want to do is ignore the issue.
How do you help consumers going through this? How can you help get them from point A to point Z and get this puppy off their desk and get it finished?
Well, we've got systems in place. There's basically three obstacles we got to jump through to get to a solution. The first one is you got to be compliant with your filings, which is what we just addressed. You can't solve a problem for 2012 and 13 if 14, 15 aren't filed. We've got to get compliant with all the returns being filed. The second obstacle is you got to be a compliant taxpayer in the current year. So in other words, if you're self-employed in 2016, you're still not making your estimated tax payments, I can't solve your problem for 15, 14, 13, 12, and 11. So you've got to start paying your taxes the right way. You've got to get the returns filed. And then the last little piece of the puzzle here is preparing, I call it the financial analysis. All the solutions available with the IRS are based on ability to pay. So this is what we've talked about in a prior interview where we have to know everything about you, your income, your household expenses, your assets, your equity in assets, because that's what the IRS is going to look at. And that's when we can sit down and really get down to the possible options and decide what's best for that taxpayer.
You hear the big national companies that advertise on helping you resolve an IRS tax issue promise and talk about this hidden program that's out there that only they know about where you can reduce the amount owed to the IRS. Tell us the truth on that, Nick. I mean, is it possible to reduce, to negotiate with the IRS?
Absolutely. The program is a great program. What's deceiving about the national companies' ads is they make it seem like everybody is a candidate for it, which it's not.
Okay.
And you mentioned my ads on KRLD. We try and distinguish ourselves from those companies. Unfortunately, the people that come to me, and I'm guessing at this percentage, but probably about 15 or 20% of the people that hire us to help them with their IRS problem have already paid somebody, sometimes thousands of dollars over the past year, thinking they're being represented. Next thing you know, they've got a wage levy or a bank levy or some sort of a seizure, and they can't even get a call back because the company's in California or Colorado or Florida, and they don't want to deal with it anymore.
And they take, what, thousands of dollars, you said?
Probably on the average about $5,000, I hate to say.
All right. How do you work at your law firm, Nick? How do you work with the consumer? It starts with a free initial consultation, which is great because you're not charging just to see if you can help somebody, right?
Absolutely. We'll meet for free, and I have turned away clients. I say, listen, we're going to charge you more than it's worth to get a law firm involved. Here's what you need to do. And I'll tell them the 3 or 4 steps they need to do because it's a fairly simple problem to fix. Now, you don't want to try and do that on your own before somebody tells you you can accomplish that, because I've also had clients come to me where they tried to fix the problem and they made things 10 times worse. Or where they've come to us, for some reason didn't feel ready to hire us, went back, tried to do something on their own, came back to me 6 months later with a larger problem.
Kids do not try this at home.
That's exactly right. Good analogy.
Nick Nemeth is our guest. The law offices of Nick Nemeth here in Dallas-Fort Worth. You have an IRS tax issue or you're getting the notices, we recommend that you call Nick. And his phone number is 972-484-0829. Remember it this way, 972-484-0TAX. The website, myiRSteam.com. Nick, thanks for being on today.
You're very welcome.
The Consumer Team on 1080 KRLD. You know, we're getting great reviews on Richard Walsh and his team at Auto Locators of Texas. When it is time for you to buy a car, we recommend that you buy smart. By the way, I just did, where you pay about half of what that car costs new. How do you do that? You buy pre-owned, and you buy from Auto Locators of Texas. Yeah, when you buy pre-owned, and Consumer Reports recommends this too. When you buy pre-owned, you get a chance to buy great value, but let somebody else take that depreciation hit. We just bought a 2013 Honda Pilot, paid about 53%, I think, of what that car cost new. We've got a warranty on the vehicle for 36,000 additional miles, and our payment, I think, is somewhere around $360 a month. We're going to have that car paid off in 3 years. This is the way to buy a car. The way to buy a car smart, whether you're buying a luxury car that's a couple of years old or a first car for a teenage driver. Buy smart. Pay about half of what that car costs new. Now, we have it set up on the Consumer Team where you can connect directly with the owner, Richard Walsh of Auto Locators of Texas. It's really neat. Just go to our website, myconsumerteam.com, click on the Auto Locators banner on the left-hand side of the page. You'll be connected with Richard. You can tell him about your vehicle, what you want to trade in, what you're looking for. This is important on a couple of levels. First of all, it's very easy to do it this way. You'll be connected directly to the boss. It also shows Richard that you are a Consumer Team listener. He'll know that you're coming from our program. When you go to our website at myconsumerteam.com, again, click on the Auto Locators banner, and when it's time to buy a car, buy that car smart. Coming up on the Consumer Team, Ernie Sprance with the latest on phishing scams being used by identity thieves. Also saving money on Medicare. Bottom of the hour, why you should never hire a contractor at a big box store. Later on, when a sale is not a sale, we'll talk about fake sales and tell you how to get your fake sale meter going, how you can detect these things so you don't fall victim. Keep it here. This is the Consumer Team, the voice of the consumer for Dallas-Fort Worth. And we're coming back here on KRLD.